inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything.
Oh, guys, sorry. Just getting my stuff ready for the alien invasion. My bad. Okay, I'm ready. Yeah, I was just out fighting some aliens, y'all. Whew. Let me just get that alien goo off. You know what I mean? I don't even know where to start today, y'all. What are we doing? What are we starting? I have seen no evidence of an alien invasion, so let me just, ease the tension on Earth here, as I like to say. Earth. We are good, guys. I think we're good. I think the alien invasion is not happening. I was thinking about this, and don't worry, I have a bunch of news stories we're going to go over today. So we're not going to focus on that. We're going to jump into a bunch of different things. I'll tell you that first, and then I'll tell you my thought on the alien invasion real quick. Okay, so we're going to go over George Knapp talking about Immaculate Constellation, Schellenberger. I got a good clip from that. We're also going to talk about Gary Nolan, a recent clip he made, or comment he made. I've got a clip of it. We're also going to talk about David Grusch and something journalist Tim McMillan from the Debrief has talked about. We're also going to look at the New Jersey drones, and of course, this alien invasion, right? And I tried remote viewing for the first time last night. I will get into those details. And I will be announcing the Vetter of the Month. It's an annual thing that I do every month. I announce one vetter who just steps above the rest, and we highlight them for the month. So I will announce that. But first thing about the alien invasion, I was thinking, how crazy would it be that this advanced civilization, or multiple of them, right, would come here and there would be this all-out war in the skies and whatever. And what thwarts them, right, is a dude that looks like the dude from Breaking Bad, because he created a little computer program, and that's, boom, solved. Like, you know what I mean? That beats the aliens. That just seems so unlikely to me. Right? Like, the aliens couldn't have factored that in. Can you imagine? They're in the alien war, right? About ready to go. Oh my God, hang on. That dude from Breaking Bad created a web bot who predicted us. Oh no. Head back, y'all. Let's head back to Zeta Reticuli or whatever. Whatever. Look, add a little clarification. Apparently that the just to reiterate real quick for those that don't know, Cliff High, a gentleman, used a predictive language model, some sort of like a web bot thing, right? This sort of whatever that, scans the internet for information, and it predicted an alien invasion today, right? December 3rd, 2024, because there was a particular point in time that once that event happened, 39 days from that event, the alien invasion would happen, right? And what was that event, which Cliff High calls a temporal marker, right? That temporal marker was the interview with Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, right? And then 39 days from that. Well, apparently there's a little more to it, right? Where he's saying, look, 39 days from that temporal marker begins the window of time in which this alien invasion might happen. So he's basically saying from today for 2 to 3 months is when the alien invasion could happen. So it could happen in sometime in the rest of December, January, February of 2025, right? In this few month window. So whatever, y'all. Take that as you will. The goalposts have been moved, and then when February rolls around, it'll be, well, there's more time, whatever. So, but just to be fair to the whole story there. So anyway, let's move past the alien invasion. I think we're all safe here, y'all. We're all safe. So look, let's jump into this first I had a bunch of things I was going to make a video on today, and I just couldn't decide on one. So that's why I'm live streaming, so I can just talk about all these different things that I wanted to discuss. So stay with me. All right. So let's jump into this George Knapp clip, which I've got right here. All right. Now pay attention to what he says, because there's a couple things in here that we're going to break down that don't make sense. So let's go here. This is George Knapp on the UAP Studies podcast. I recommend checking out that podcast. Really cool. UAP Studies podcast. I'll put links in the description after the stream. All right, let's give it a go here.
There was great hope after that New York Times story, and other media jump in. Congress is asking questions, held hearings again. But you saw that last hearing. These members of Congress, Nancy Mace, saying, we've been told we can't ask questions about X, Y, Z. Told by who? Who told you? What questions can't you ask? Not very clear. They had that hearing. They were offered direct hands-on whistleblowers. I can tell you that for sure. They didn't take the offer.
Well, that's one big point that we're going to get on, right? So no firsthand whistleblowers, right? So apparently Congress was offered firsthand whistleblowers, right, for this hearing, and didn't take them. Well, remember when Nancy Mace had come out in September, like, we want to see people that have seen shit. So apparently they were offered that and turned it down. Well, hang on, because I've got a little more information on that. But let's continue. We'll come back to that.
12-page report that was submitted to the record. Jeremy Corbell is the one that gave it to him. I know because I had read it and helped in preparing them, putting it together. And Jeremy gave it to them the night before. He showed it to Michael Schellenberger. He had never seen it.
Wait, what? So he's talking about the Immaculate Constellation report, right, that got submitted to Congress. It was the whole debacle of 11-page or 12-page, right? Jeremy Corbell had given it in. It had 12 pages. Well, that 12th page turned out to be a cover letter that Jeremy Corbell had also submitted. But more importantly than that, because I've covered that quite extensively on the channel, I'll put links in the description to that too if you want to go check it out. But more importantly than that is him saying Michael Schellenberger has never seen that report. He had never seen it. What do you mean he had never seen it? That doesn't make any sense. And I've got a clip to show why I'm saying that. But let's go back to that whistleblower comment, right? They were offered whistleblowers, firsthand whistleblowers, right, for this hearing. Well, let me tell you who one of them was going to be, Michael Herrera. So I get why they turned down some of the whistleblowers. If one of them was Michael Herrera, who was trying to testify to, right? If he thought he was going to be one of these firsthand whistleblowers, right? So maybe there's more context here that George is leaving out, which is the credibility of those firsthand whistleblowers, right? Because in my opinion, just because you went and gave your story to Arrow and just because you went and talked to congressional staffers, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that your story is true or credible or valid or anything. That just means you told your story, right? So maybe Congress was like, these whistleblowers are no good, right? I don't know. There's definitely just more this just open, like always in this community, things get said and it just creates more questions, right, than answers. Now let's get to this part about Michael Schellenberger, right? Let me finish this clip and then I'll get to what I'm talking about. So basically George Knapp is stating that Michael Schellenberger has didn't see the Immaculate Constellation report until that day in Congress at the hearing, but he wrote a whole article on it, right? But Michael Schellenberger has claimed something different. So let's hear the rest of this clip, and then we'll get to another clip that I have.
The committee thanks Michael in open hearing. Thank you for giving us that report. Michael didn't give it to him. He had never seen it before. Jeremy gave it to him. They distorted that. There were people in the room who were watching them, so they didn't ask certain questions. They have been unable to get a skiff to take some of these whistleblowers in. What the hell's the problem in Congress members getting a skiff so they can hear sensitive matters? I don't understand it. I don't understand who's pulling all the strings here, but I suspect it's the same people that have always been pulling these strings that are. Congress, I think, is a direct threat. They have subpoena power. They have authority to get to the bottom of this, or at least to try and to raise hell if they can't get answers. And I think there are definite efforts underway to discourage members of Congress from pushing too hard on this. And the same with mainstream media.
All right. So, one, please check out this podcast. There's a lot of different parts in it that are really great. George tells a story of having his wife having an experience, right, of a shadowy figure pinning her down while she's watching TV, and apparently a few different people, this hitchhiker effect, right? George didn't see it or anything, but I mean, it's kind of crazy. I hadn't heard that. So that story was kind of interesting. There's a lot of different parts that are really cool. So I highly recommend checking out that interview. George is just a great interviewee. He's great to listen to, regardless how you feel about him. I enjoy listening to him. So look, let me play this clip. So again, let me reiterate. George is saying that Michael Schellenberger had never seen that report, right? The Immaculate Constellation report. Well, let me show you this clip and see how that doesn't line up with what Michael Schellenberger is saying. Because you see, when this first came out, this story first came out, I made a video about it, of course, right? And there I am looking all handsome. This is pre-alien invasion, by the way, y'all. That's me pre-alien invasion. This is me in the middle of the alien invasion. So I don't know. How do I look? Do I look different? I think I feel like I look happier right now. But anyway, let me play this clip and then we'll go from there. Let's hear from Michael Schellenberger himself talking with Ross Coulthart on News Nation about this program.
Yeah, this is an incredible story. So a new whistleblower has come forward with a written report that this person has shared with some members of Congress and with me. And the report is quite extraordinary.
Well, there it is. It's quite simple. Literally right off the bat, there's the clip. He's saying that report was shared with him. That's how he wrote the story. And he's saying it was shared with members of Congress when what it turned out is Congress had never seen that report. So what's going on? These stories don't add up, right? Which is it? Has Schellenberger seen the report? That clearly wasn't the first time that he saw it, or what? That's what I'm confused about. So let me reiterate that. I'm confused. Did Michael Schellenberger see the report to write his article that broke the Immaculate Constellation story? Right here, he's saying he has seen the report. The report was shared with him, along with members of Congress. But then the story comes out that Congress had never seen the report till that day of the hearing, and that Schellenberger saw it for the first time that day. But right here, Schellenberger saying he has. So, right, this isn't lining up, or what's going on? What the hell is going on? So I'm just confused by that story, right? And George isn't the only one saying that there were people. There were people telling members of Congress during the hearing, don't ask certain questions. And I believe Jared Moskowitz brought that up in the hearing, right? I just found that interesting. Another thing that I found interesting was during the hearing, Michael Schellenberger is asked about the report. He's hounded by this. I should have had this clip brought up. I'm so sorry. God, the one clip I forgot. But he's hounded during the hearing about the report. Who wrote the report? Tell us more about this person, right? And Michael Schellenberger's like, I'll protect my witness, my source, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't even want to reveal gender, where they work, anything. Well, if you look inside the report, it literally says the person works in the Department of Defense, right? And the guy is asking him that. Does he work in the Department of Defense? Knowing that it's in the report. And Michael Schellenberger still says, like, he can't talk about it. But they can submit the report for public view, right? Does that make sense? And this is what Luna was talking about, right? They were told things, shown things, and then brought in so they could ask questions about it. And then everyone was like, I can't talk about it. But wait a second, it's this public report. You can say it. It's in the report. It says the person works for the Department of Defense. It's little things like that that just add up. It's death. You know what it is? The saying is death by 1,000 cuts. This is like misinformation by 1,000 lies, right? Little mini lies. So just a lot of things that don't add up. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not making any definitive statements. I'm not saying anyone's lying or this, that. I'm just saying it doesn't add up. It's confusing. What the hell is going on? Can we get some clarification? Schellenberger would be great to get some clarification. He never tweeted out anything about the report. That Jeremy Corbell was the one that turned it in. Didn't say anything, right? So I don't know what the hell's going on. But in the Immaculate Constellation document, it says the person worked for the Department of Defense. And Michael Schellenberger is asked directly and still denies it. It's like, why? What is the point? All right, so let's move on to the next story. Gary Nolan. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw this clip of Gary Nolan, it got my mind racing with a bazillion questions. And you're about to see why, because the same thing is probably going to happen to you. Pay attention. Because the clip I'm about to share of Gary Nolan, who also is a great interviewee. I like watching Gary Nolan interviews. Again, regardless of how you feel about him, I like watching his interviews. But it's something he said on a podcast recently that I just can't get out of my head. I wanted to make a video about it, but it was during Thanksgiving and I had my Chris Ramsey interview, so I had to focus on that. But this has stuck with me since I heard it. So I'm going to play it, and you tell me what sticks out to you about this, and let's see if it aligns with what sticks out for me.
So I remember talking to a physicist who is, deeply involved with the program, meaning he actually knows a lot about, and he has top security clearances. And I said, so they're moving really fast, and they're doing it in a way that they don't have an onboard fusion reactor. He said, well, we can't find their energy source. I said, so they're cheating somehow. I said, yeah, you can call it that. Somehow they're accessing levels of energy that are sufficient for them to make this move without exploding the sun every second. So I think one of the things that humanity is good at is, and that anybody in the intelligence field, or frankly any field, commercialization knows, is that once you know something can be done, then it's a race to doing it yourself. If it can never be done, then
You give up on it.
you give up. But if you know it can be done, maybe that's all the incentive you need.
All right, so you've heard that. I'm going to play one more clip, and just in your mind, compare them together, and I'll point it out afterwards, but I want to see if you can do it yourself as well. So we've heard that clip. Stay with me. Now, stay with me here, okay? I'm about to share this clip of Bob Lazar. Now, stay with me. You'll see what I'm getting at. Let me play the clip, and then we'll talk about both.
115 is strictly an extraterrestrial material. Element 115 is in the top of the reactor, and the base of the reactor is something similar to a cyclotron. It's a particle accelerator. A particle is accelerated to high speed and then deflected up a small tube, and it's aimed at the 115. This transmutes the 115. This causes a reaction, a radiation emission that we really haven't seen before. It produces antimatter. This antimatter is guided down a tuned tube and reacts with a gas. When matter and antimatter react, they convert to 100% energy. This heat energy is converted to electrical power in the reactor itself. This is done through a thermoelectric converter, and this electrical power is used to power other subsystems on the 115 is strictly an extraterrestrial material. Element 115 is...
So you may be saying, Patrick, what does that have to do with anything, right? What does that have to do with anything with what Gary Nolan said? Well, if you ask me, It was the moment that Gary Nolan said, let's go back to it. I'm going to play it. I'll play this clip again. It's right at the beginning.
So I remember talking to a physicist who is, deeply involved with the program, meaning he actually knows a lot about, and he has top security clearances. And I said, so they're moving really fast and they're doing it in a way that they don't have an onboard fusion reactor. He said, well, we can't find their energy source.
Right there. We can't find their energy source. They don't have an onboard fusion reactor. So what is Bob Lazar talking about? What is element 115? Literally, he's stated that that is the energy source. So by Gary Nolan making that statement, in my opinion, it sort of debunks a lot of people's stories out there that claim to have the knowledge of this energy source of these UFOs. Now, this is just according to Gary Nolan. Maybe his source is wrong, right? This physicist who's in the program, which I always ask, what the hell does that mean? The program? What program? The program. Like, it's like when they go, they are doing this, and you're like, who's they? And they can't ever answer the question, right? It's the same sort of thing. These terms just get thrown around. What does program mean? Like, what the hell does that mean? The legacy program, Patrick. Oh, okay. What legacy? But what are you talking about? Be more specific. That's just so general. But the idea that we don't know the energy source, right? If that's true, let's take that at face value. What Gary Nolan said, that they don't know the energy source. Then any story you hear about the energy source or how these things operate is wrong. If that's true, or is this physicist wrong? And if he's wrong, then what's going on? Again, more confusion, more things not lining up, right? And I get that things aren't going to line up perfectly. I get that. But these are pretty fundamental, wrongs here, like not lining up. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Let me know in the comments what you think. A few of the things that have attracted me more to this topic as time has gone by, as the time that I've spent in this, the things that have kind of risen to the top for me that compel me and make me want to look into more. One is remote viewing, right? Which I'll get into later, of me trying that for the first time. Because it's nuts and bolts. It's something I can do. I can test. I can see it, right? It's something people are saying, I have that capability, and I like that, right? It's hands-on. Another thing is this idea of free energy, right? This idea that there is this hidden technology from us, right? And this hidden energy source that we could have access to, but they're suppressing it. There is a lot to back up some of those claims and some of those stories. There's a lot of people looking into that. And I find that quite fascinating. It's something I always keep my eye on, right? This sort of hidden physics, hidden energy source, hidden whatever, because there are supplemental smaller stories that, give it a little more credibility and then make you want to pull the thread further, i.e. the guy in the 70s who created a car that worked on water and they got rid of, that guy's not around anymore, right? That's just one small story. Right. But things like that, right? You hear about these things, right? This perpetual energy that requires no extra energy, right? It can just go forever. And tapping into this ether, if you will, this free energy that exists, all around us. I'm fascinated by that. But, things like this so I'm not saying any of this can't be true. I'm just saying these things don't line up from these different people. So is what Gary Nolan said implying that Bob Lazar is lying? Right. He didn't come out and say Bob Lazar is lying, but if he's saying we don't know the energy source and Bob Lazar is saying, I know the energy source, and in fact, I have a piece of it. What's going on? Right. What would be interesting? Bob Lazar, Gary Nolan conversation. Let's get them together to talk. That would just be fascinating on its own, but talking about that. Right. So anyway, all right, there's that story. Y'all can decide what you do with it after that. All right, let's jump to the next story, which something I've been following. I've made a couple videos that have gotten a lot of views, actually, talking about David Grusch, Where is David Grusch? What has happened to David Grusch? Right. I made a video about David Grusch they haven't gotten David Grusch in a skiff since the hearing. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Right. So what was the whole point of David Grusch? David Grusch brought the whole kit and caboodle. He brought the treasure map with the X on it and got ignored. Or they looked in behind the scenes and decided, and moved on, but didn't tell us. Right. There was that small mention in the hearing on November 13th of that, but nothing definitively. And they didn't really follow up in the hearing on it. Right. So it's like, where's David Grusch? What's happening to David Grusch? Well, I've got some news. Good or bad news, you'll have to decide for yourself when you hear it. But all right, so this is a clip from That UFO Podcast. Great podcast. You should check it out. This is a preview. Right? Actually, let me read that real quick. Let me read that. All right, so preview clip of interview dropping later today with Lieutenant Tim McMillan from Debrief Media regarding his latest work, soon to be published, regarding David Grusch. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, what's going on with David Grusch? Because I like DG, baby. I like DG. I'm a fan of his, and it saddens me that he has kind of been pushed out and forgotten, I have to admit. All right, let me play this clip.
We talk about what I have or haven't been working on in the UAP space in the past year. What will be coming up, and who knows, December tends to be a pretty busy month for a variety of reasons. So maybe the first of the year, but sometime soon here, I will publish something saying I do know the resolution of the Inspector General investigations of Grusch's claim. So I do know what happened there. Only reason we haven't put that out yet is providing some more backstory of why they went down this route. I think, why did they come to this conclusion? Because yeah, it'll be interesting. It's sadly, I'll just say it's not going to put any other mystery to bed. Let's put it that way. It may only stoke more intrigue into Grusch's claims, but yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest one there, and a lot of his claims still linger out there. And the ability to prove his claims or even disprove them, I think, has been kind of silly. I've seen some of the arguments against his claims by Dr. Kirkpatrick or others, and it's like, okay, that's not, we're not real life. Like to suggest, well, I have access to everything, so I checked everything that he said. I'm like, no, that's not. It's not real life. Because we know from the Inspector General side what they couldn't check, and so it's like that. You can't really make that statement definitively. So there's still a lot of lingering mystery in the UFO topic when it relates to the government involvement, and I think the frustrating side for both enthusiasts.
There we go. So that's interesting, right? He kind of implied there at the end that the Inspector General couldn't verify some of David Grusch's claims, right? So he's then implying that how could Arrow and Sean Kirkpatrick verify or not verify, right? Like he's saying to make a definitive statement about David Grusch would be kind of intellectually dishonest, right? It's kind of the implication he's making there, right? Because even the Inspector General couldn't check it. So how are you checking it, basically, right? That's kind of the gist of it. But it sounds like we're going to get more details soon about that. I look forward to hearing about that and getting an update. But I have to admit, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all. Again, more confusion, more things that don't add up. Even from the people, it's like from both sides. You got the quote unquote believers or the people making claims, and then quote unquote the debunkers over here. Even that stuff is confusing. Like nobody's lining up with anything. It doesn't make sense. Right? It's just so confusing. And you know who I feel bad for? You. I feel bad for you. Yeah, I'm talking to you personally, because you have to deal with this BS on the constant. Live your life, pay your bills, take care of your family, and somehow you're supposed to be this expert, private detective who could, sift through all of this nonsense, right? When all you want is for people to just, as we say in Texas, shoot it to me straight, right? We're big boys and big girls. We can handle it. But this confusion at every turn, it's like we literally are going in circles, and it's frustrating. All right, let's get to something that's kind of interesting, I have to admit. Okay. As of late, I'm sure many of you are aware that there have been drone sightings everywhere, all kinds of places popping up. DC, Arizona, New York, UK, especially, right? That's been a huge thing in Russia. I'm sure other places. And now New Jersey, we find out, right? So I've got this clip that we're going to go over, this news clip. Let's talk about it. And let's talk about some of the things, some of the sightings, and how they're being like easily misidentified. It's not helping like us get to the truth. I'll explain myself a little bit better here in just a moment. I'm sure that was a little confusing what I just said, but I'll explain myself better. Let's watch this clip. This is from MSNBC. The title, or NBC News. The title says, FBI investigates mysterious drones spotted over New Jersey. And you think, well, Patrick, why are we covering drones? Right? What? You'll see.
FBI is now getting involved in an investigation into these mysterious, apparently small car-sized drones that people are spotting flying over New Jersey in the middle of the night. Look at this. One woman there took the video you're seeing. So that's it. It looks like it's flying pretty low. And from that perspective, it looks very large, right? And all those lights in the sky that you see there, see those lights? Those are apparently drones as well, they say, seeming to fly in a V formation, with the whole saga stressing people out nearby.
We're all completely unnerved. I didn't sleep last night. When I would get up and look out my window at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., they were still hovering. I got up at 5:30 this morning and they were still there. As the sun was starting to rise, they went back in the same direction they came from. And I expect they'll be back as soon as the sun goes down tonight.
Let's bring in Tom Winter. What's up with the mysterious drones, Tom?
Right, Allie. Well, not to go all Scully and Mulder on us here.
Do it.
Law enforcement is concerned about this. They have put out a statement, the local sheriff's office and local prosecutor's office in Morris County. So Morris County, New Jersey, pretty much the kind of the center of where this activity has been occurring, along with Somerset County. So they're about an hour-ish west of here. Don't throw things at your screen. I know that it could be double that amount of time given traffic, but just to give folks a sense of where we are in referring to New York City. As far as the size of them, multiple eyewitnesses have reported, and obviously we've seen the video here, you've just pointed it out, the size of these, it's not quite clear to law enforcement that they are car-sized at this point, but they do not appear to be kind of the homemade type that would fit on a desk. Whether or not they're the kind that would fit in a garage, well, that's going to be a bigger question. They really want the evidence here, Hallie. They want to be able to get their hands on this or know where they are flying from in an effort to try to figure out, okay, who's doing this, what are they about, and what are they specifically looking at? But officials in New Jersey stress, look, there's no indication at this point that they're a threat to the public. We'd certainly like to know what's going on. And they are encouraging people to call these in.
Why would the FBI be getting involved in this here?
A great question. So the airspace is the FBI's domain. So when the FAA sees something that is a potential violation of federal law as it pertains to the skies, that's a time where the FBI would get involved. And certainly if we're talking about multiple counties, or we're talking about something that could have come from outside of New Jersey, perhaps from Pennsylvania, perhaps from New York State, or the water, they want to have the ability to kind of expand this investigation. And I spoke to them just before speaking with you tonight, and they are looking for people to give them them some tips and to kind of coordinate the response to this. Also figure out what are they actually looking at. There are a couple of military sites in the area, but it's not clear yet that that's necessarily the focus of what these drones are about. But they're definitely keeping an eye on the situation. You know, there have been a number of reports of these unidentified aerial phenomena, Hallie, across the country and on the West Coast. So that, you know, the government is concerned about this.
We really don't have any clues? Because right now it feels like this is so bizarre. The TLDR is like large drones fly over towns all night in the middle of the night and nobody knows where they're from. Like that's really, we really don't have any little like signals. Maybe it's so-and-so or whatever company or something.
I am not holding anything back from you. Nobody has whispered anything from me. I am promising you. And by the way, the Morris County Airport that's closest to all this, close to Bedminster, New Jersey, where Donald Trump's golf course is, where he is often, you know, Hallie, from experience covering the Trump administration, that they are certainly aware of potential aerial threats. This is an important airport. It's close to New York City. So it's not as if they're watching these drones kind of fly off into the night and just saying, oh, well, maybe we'll call somebody someday. Like this area is familiar with it. The New Jersey.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated. All right, I got to show y'all something. So this right here, let's find that again. Let's get a better picture of that. All right, right here. I have to admit, when I first saw this, I thought, that's a plane. Right? I think that's a plane. It clearly has that shape of a plane, right? That backlight is the tail light, but it does move a little differently than a plane, but that's exactly how a drone would be. I mean, are we saying that the alien craft are just coming with these blinking lights? That doesn't make sense to me either. But I'm not saying it makes sense that, you know, they're not that. I'm just saying I don't know. But it is interesting that there is all this drone activity happening, right? Drone, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. You know, but the FBI is investigating. I do hope we get to the bottom of it. You know, you have to ask the question as well as this. If I say, don't think about pink elephants, what are you going to think about? Pink elephants, right? So all these stories of drones and all this stuff, right? It makes people want to like, is that what you see, right? Is it psychologically that's what's happening? Is it a mixture of that in there as well, right? Is it that there's more sightings, or is it just more sightings are being reported? Does that make sense? These sightings have been happening. They just haven't been reported or, you know, reported on. Right. Just things to consider, things to, you know, keep in mind. But it is very strange. I definitely have to admit there's a lot of this is very strange about all of this. I legitimately have to admit that. All right, let's get to, so, you know, tell me what you guys think in the comments, right? About this, about the drones. It's a lot to take in. All right, let's go to the next story, which is me. I tried remote viewing last night. If you're not familiar with what remote viewing is, it is a, you know, alleged human capability to, it's kind of in the name, right? Remote view something. Right. It's like remote work, right? You're not actually at work, but you're doing the work remotely, right? From your house, right? So the idea is that you can remote view something. You can see something not in front of you, far away. And that's interesting, right? And some of you may know about it. Some of you may have tried it, whatever. I've been kind of interested in it and I tried it. I gave it a go. Last night, I jumped in the Discord. My wife is out of town, so I, you know, could stay up late and have fun and, you know, eat pizza and, you know, whatever. So whatever. I was going to jump in an X space last night. I thought, you know what, let me go to Discord, see who's on, because that's a much better environment for me. And boom, there you go. People in our Discord hanging out in open mic like they always do. If you want to join our Discord, it's free. There's a link down below. But anyway, I go in. They tell me they've done some remote viewing, and I ask, hey, can we try that right now? So we did. And I drew a few things, and I'm going to show you a couple drawings. Now, don't laugh. Okay? Don't laugh. Whatever you do, don't laugh. Okay? Oh, wait, that's a self-portrait I drew. Hang on, I'm just kidding. That is my first remote viewing. I drew a scary clown. I was way off. It was not that at all. It was a person with like a shadow on the ocean, long leg shadows, what I call bell bottom shadows, makes them really long. Anyway, that was wrong. And then I drew this, which looks like my nephew drew it. An ocean with the sun. Again, I was wrong. It was a shark riding a rainbow with 2 stick figures on the back. So I was way off. But it was just an interesting, I don't know if procedure is the right word, but it was interesting to sort of try to clear your mind, draw the first thing that comes to it. But see, with remote viewing and this thing, it's almost like you need to concentrate on what to draw, right? Like there's so much noise, right? Think of like Superman or a superhero like that has the, you've always seen that capability where Superman he can hear all these sounds throughout the city, right? And he's like, oh my God, it's just too much. And then he learns to concentrate on specific sounds, right, that he can hear. But it's kind of the same idea. At least that's what's alleged, right? You need to be able to concentrate specifically through the noise to get to this, particular spot, right, in another part of the world where you're being directed, right, to look at. And I just haven't learned to, draw out the noise. But I'm going to try it again under better circumstances where I can actually concentrate, really clear my mind, and see if something like this is possible. Again, either way, I like doing it because it's something I can do. It's just nuts and bolts. I don't need anybody. There's no stories. There's no confusion. There's no nonsense. There's nobody trying to lie to me. It's just I can do it, and it's boom. I can try it myself, right? So I don't have to take the word of someone else. So what I'm going to do is on the Vetted channel, I don't know when, but soon, I am going to do either a live stream or a pre-recorded video of me and a few other people trying remote viewing and kind of talking about it and that sort of thing. And, we'll see what happens. But I enjoyed the process. It was great. And it just goes to show, right? Vetted gets accused, me personally, I'm skeptical. You're against disclosure, Patrick. You're you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, our community is filled with so many people and so many different beliefs. We're all very open-minded. The problem is a lot of us just don't want to be lied to, right? We all have different beliefs about the phenomena in Vetted. When you go hang out with us in open mic, you realize everyone has different beliefs. And that's not what brings us together. Our beliefs aren't what bring us together, right? It's our search that brings us together. Our search for the truth, our search for trying to understand this world and this life a little bit better. That's what brings us together. Right. But we're all going to have different beliefs because, again, we're all going to have different life experiences. So putting someone down for their beliefs in this is so unusual to me. So unusual to me. Like, you're going to judge someone because they don't think the same way as you about aliens? They're an idiot now? It doesn't make any sense. Well, either way, if you're a skeptic and you're putting someone down for believing, why do you care? Well, you know everything? No, you don't. And if you're a believer putting down a skeptic because he doesn't see it the way you do, who are you? You know everything? No, you don't. So let's all go on this journey together, right? I think that's the best thing to do, in my opinion. And Vetted is the community to do it. No matter your belief, come hang out with us. We just ask you to be respectful, like normal. Like when you go hang out with your friends, your family, and everyone's just getting along. That's it. You're just talking, discussing. A place you can feel free to express yourself, whether you've had a personal experience with the phenomena or you haven't, and you just have questions. Maybe you're trying to connect with other people who've had similar experiences to you. Vetted is open to everyone. I want to make that clear. We're not here to put down anyone that believes in the phenomena, and we're not here to put down anyone that doesn't believe in the phenomena. So that's my 2 cents on that. All right. So let me get to our Vetter of the month, y'all. So again, this is someone that I like to highlight every month, who goes above and beyond in the Vetted community. To be honest, we have so many great people. It's really hard every month to choose. And I take a lot of people nominate other people, and I take a lot of that into consideration, I promise you. But I'm pretty deeply involved in the vetted community, in our open mics. I'm there almost every day. We can come talk directly to me, and really just hearing the other people in the community. But one person in particular who has helped out vetted a lot, in a lot of ways. They helped me with a particular video I did about the Phoenix Lights, because they live in Phoenix, Arizona. And they helped me look into that case, and they're even in my video for it. And they've just done a lot of things for the community. They're always there to have great discussions and debates and whatever. People, speak very highly of this person. I myself have had personal experience with them, and they're an amazing person. Very funny too. And recently they did a presentation in our Discord, right, for everybody, which I'll get more into that more here in just a second, about like how to research basically a little bit better, right? Which is cool, right? You can come learn how to like look into things a little bit better, right? How to critically think a little bit better, not how to think, right? Not to tell you what to think or how to act, but just if you want, there's knowledge to help you better research. So his name is John Calle, and he goes by Radiation King as well. Calle means street in Spanish, so John Street. Love that. He's from Phoenix. He's helped out quite a bit, but I want to say that John is my vetter of the month this month. He's a great person, great dude. You can have great interactions with him, and I look forward to everything he sort of brings to the community, to be honest. But so thank you, John. Shout out to him. Let's give him a huge shout out, guys, in the chat, to John. And something he did in our Discord, which was make an event and then present, right? Give a presentation basically, and all the vetters were there, and we watched it, right? Think of it like a live stream here, right? But it's on our vetted Discord. So I want to offer that to more people. If you have a presentation you'd like to give to vetters, let us know. Hit us up in Discord, and you can set up an event and give a presentation about something. We like to keep it under an hour, and then people can just go to it if they want, right? It's that simple. But you can feel free to kind of speak to the other vetters and kind of hold the floor, right? If you will, if you have a theory you want to give, or I don't know, something, just something, right? John's was about, hey, this is a better way to research. It was really cool. I learned a lot of things I didn't know, because I don't claim to know anything really. I don't know anything. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything. So regardless, also, I want to say, I'm going to get to all the chat here in just a moment. I want to say, if you want to sign up for our Patreon, there's a link down below. I put out new vetted videos a couple a week in Patreon. So if you want a couple extra vetted videos, you can sign up for our Patreon. It's about $5 a month, maybe $6. I don't know, somewhere there, $5-6 a month, and you get access to a couple new videos a week. Patreon only. I don't post them on YouTube. I don't post them anywhere else. Only Patreon. You can get them there. So link in the description if you want. Also, YouTube membership. Feel free to sign up. We have a lot of members, hundreds now, and I'm so excited that people have joined. I do private members only live streams, which there'll be one tomorrow. So if you want to sign up for that, it's just me and you guys hanging out, talking. If you've ever been to one, it's a lot of fun. It's just me in the chat. That's it. I focus on that, and we just talk and converse about what vetted members want to talk about, right? What's on their minds? What's on your mind? I want to hear it. So, and then you get a lot of other perks with it that, too much to get into, but there's a lot with it. So feel free to join if you like. And then as well, we have a Spanish and German channel. So if you prefer, if that's your native tongue, feel free to sign up for those. Every vetted video pretty much gets translated into Spanish and German, and we have Spanish and German channels. The links are down below. Please go subscribe if you want. All right, let's get to the chat, y'all. Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry. I thought I heard an alien invasion coming. That wasn't. It's just my dog. All right, let's get to some super chats here. Soggy Biscuits writes, Discord. This is the link right here. Join us. Yes. Listen to Soggy Biscuits. Okay. That's the first and last time you'll hear me say that. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, about your name, Soggy Biscuits, which was the name of my first band, actually. So that's weird. Coming to the stage, Soggy Biscuits with their new hit, Gravy. All right. Yes, Soggy Biscuits. Please go join the Discord. It is free to join, y'all. DIY Camo Guy says, dude, what's going to happen in 2027? I have no idea, but that is a date being thrown around. Again, more predictions, right? 2027. It just keeps getting moved down the line. And then when 2027 comes, they'll say 2029 and then so on and so forth, y'all. I'm going to be dead when the truth comes out. Compliciate. I just totally screwed up your name. My apologies. Says, this moment, Patrick realized that most of ufology is just a effing grift. I don't really know what that means, but if you're implying like, yes, people lie, right? I don't put the whole ufology, if you will, the whole UFO community all in one basket. So if something happens to one person, I don't apply it to everything. I feel like that would be disingenuous. But are there people within the UFO community who lie and grift and aren't genuine or authentic? Yes. 100%. That is true. Is it everybody? I don't believe that. What percentage is it? That's unquantifiable. You have to decide that for yourself. You know, you have to decide, give that a percentage. That's completely subjective. That's like the tide. That's like where the ocean and meets the beach, right? That tide, it's ever moving, right? But that's it. That's just in life. There's people that lie, right? That's just, it has nothing to even do with the UFO community. Is it more prone to some of that? Yeah, probably. Stephen Wolf says, saw it, thought it was a plane, but moved too slow. I think he's referring to the video in the New Jersey drone news segment. It does look like a plane. A lot of planes get misidentified. And if you shoot them with your phone in just a way, it blows out the lights and blurs them out. So it looks like something and you can't see the shape behind it, especially at night. It just makes it, you know, it's like when you see those kind of lights, those are man-made objects. You know, and then people argue, well, what if they're this? Yeah, well, we can go with the what ifs till we're blue in the face. How does that help anything? Right? I really do think some things need to go on the back burner, but that is for each person to decide on their own, right? I make my own decisions. You make your own. I get it. I don't know what this says. Patrick Brody, you should just yeah. Hope I said that right. I believe they're saying you should get the sneezing monkey as a guest. I will never have a sneezing monkey on this podcast. I only get coughing monkeys. Okay, not sneezing. All right, coughing monkeys. I'm kidding. All right, y'all. Yeah, throw up any questions you have in the chat, and we'll just hang out here till I sign off. So let me know. Put them in all caps, and I will get to them. Or any comments you feel that you want to share. Feel free. Throw them in. Oh, Sean says, one more shout out for John Kaye. Yes, absolutely, Sagi. I agree. John's awesome. So many great people in the vetted community. I could probably name, 20, 30 different vetters of the month every month. It's a really hard decision, to be honest with you. So many people deserve it. But especially John, man. He really is a great dude and a great person to have in the community. Midnight Express, Patrick, Dr. Stephen Greer says any attack on these objects by the military is staged in order to convince people they are hostile. What do you think? I mean, maybe. That's interesting. He has a unique angle to this for sure. Because he thinks these beings are not hostile, right? But I would just argue this. There was no way to know. Impossible for Dr. Stephen Greer to know that. I don't care how many experiences he's had with C5 or connecting with them. I don't care what sources he had. I don't care anything. How can he prove that what aliens are saying is true? He can't. So therefore, it's bogus. He can't know that. Anyone claiming to know the aliens' intentions is BS. Even to say they're hostile because XYZ. The only argument, in my opinion, you could make about this is we don't know, but by default, you should be defensive because you don't know. So it's a threat till it's not a threat. But it's not a threat because they've been threatening. It's just a threat because you don't know. Does that make sense? Anything else to me is disingenuous. Any other argument aside from that is disingenuous. Just for the fact that anyone claiming to know the aliens' intentions, get out of here. That's impossible. Again, well, the alien told me. I don't care. How do you know he's telling the truth? There's no way to know. Now, if we were to go off the actions of these aliens, right? Just alone, their actions, cattle mutilations, abductions, being, George Knapp even talking about his wife being pinned down against her will, right? These do not sound like the activities of a friendly visitor, right? Then you hear stories of, well, the alien said, protect your planet. But then they go and mutilate cows and put crop circles and ruin crops and abduct humans. But yeah, take care of the planet. What? It doesn't make sense. These things don't make sense. Not, that's why I say everything in the UFO community can't be true. All the stories. There are definitely liars out there because all the stories don't line up in any way, shape, or form. It's just impossible for it all to be true. And you'd have to argue the other side of that coin is it's impossible for it all not to be true, meaning it's probably somewhere in the middle. Some of these stories probably are true, but some of them aren't. And that's what we try to do here at Vetted. Find the ones that aren't and get those out of the way, right? But at the end of the day, it is for you to decide, not me for you. John says, thank you, John. An alien lands and says, ask me anything. What would you ask for, bro? What would you love to know? Oh, shit. That's a good question. Do I ask them something about their planet or do I ask them something about my planet? Right? I don't know. Well, what would you ask for? Like, are they a genie that can grant me wishes? Or is it just knowledge? I don't know. I guess it would be curious to know, like, could you give me a list of humans who have made claims about aliens and just put if it's true or not next to it? The list could be long, but at least we'd know. And it just says, yep, no, 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 no. That'd be interesting for sure. And I guess if I was going to ask something about their home planet, that's a really tough question. Because do I get more than one? Am I only getting one opportunity? That changes things. What a great question to ask. I would love to see everyone else's answers to this in the comments as well. But I'd probably just ask, can I go to your planet and then come back? I have to make sure there's a return trip and come back the same, like I'm not hurt or anything. Because that would be cool to go and then I could just see things for myself, right? That would be interesting. One question that pops up, is time travel real? Is time travel real like Back to the Future? Because I'd have to be specific of what kind of time travel, not time dilation, but time travel. Can we go back in the past? Are there different timelines, different dimensions? Great question. Angus MacGyver. Getting me. I love MacGyver. And Angus was revealed as MacGyver's very first name in an episode later. I think one of the last seasons. Love MacGyver. All right. If we can't synthesize moscovium, then all the reverse engineering of the alien crafts are useless. Pais's secret sauce is the fact that they withheld the fuel source for the crafts in the patents. Okay, that's interesting. And the thing about the patents is cool because there is a law set up in the United States that we can confiscate people's patents if we feel they have something we want for national security or whatever, right? So that's very interesting. Again, that gets back to the free energy and all that sort of stuff. What's being hidden from us? Because I do believe something is being hidden. I believe Ashton Forbes just did an interview with Pais. I'm trying to remember his full name. What is his name? Sal Pais? No, I'm getting that wrong. I highly recommend that. It's a great interview. You should check that out. He's a fascinating person. Man, if there's no time between vetted and night shift, I won't be able to make a break for the bathroom. That's hilarious. Go ahead. Go to night shift, y'all. I always support Clint and what he's doing. I'm almost done anyway. Patrick Brody out there for the realness. Let's go, baby. Where are you from? Complisiert. Would love to know that. Chameleon asks, have you listened to the telepathy tapes yet? No, I have not. That is going around, and I need to get to that. I just haven't gotten there yet. For sure. All right, guys, I'm going to take one more question, and then I'm out. All right, one more question. Let's see here. Here, let's get one of our vetted members' questions. Pat, Gary says we can't find the fusion sauce. Well, if Bob did steal 115, technically Gary isn't lying. All right. Fair. I guess, are you saying that Bob took like the last remaining fuel source? Is that what you mean? Because that's interesting. I guess I never thought about that. Like he took the last of the element 115. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of interesting. I never thought of it that way. If that's what you're saying, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. But yeah, there is an argument. That's what I'm saying. More clarification, more context, because there could be an argument made that what Gary is saying doesn't negate what Bob is saying. But I need to hear more about that and how that would work. But is that possible? Well, of course. Anytime people more explain things, you get a better sense, right? More details. Because right now we're in the LIZ, as they call it, the low information zone. So anyway, y'all, look, thank y'all for hanging out. This was a blast. No alien invasion as far as I can tell. We're good, y'all. But I guess keep your eyes open for the next 2-3 months. You know, we'll see what's up. But thank y'all for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to the moderators for hanging out in the chat. I know we had a lot of people watching today, so thank you guys for everything you do there. I know that's not easy, so I really appreciate it. And thank you to all the vetted members who are part of YouTube, Patreon. I really appreciate y'all's support, y'all. Without it, I can't do this. So that helps immensely for me to be able to do this. All right, guys. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Feel free to join us in the Discord. We'll be hanging out. Again, it's free to join. You can come talk to me and the rest of the vetters and just have a cool conversation. And there's always something going on 24/7. We have over 1,200 members now. Right, over 1,200 vetters who have joined the vetted Discord. Feel free to join, share all kinds of stuff, videos, documents, research, pictures of your dog. We got everything in there, right? We talk food, we talk, everything. Come in there, have fun, meet like-minded people like yourself. All right, vetters, we'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Say it with me. Ready? 3, 2. Every day's a gift, y'all.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.